you would hope that these, higher beings, these supreme powers who have all of this knowledge and power and just complete different viewpoint on what existence is, would learn from their mistakes. But I doubt it.
Welcome to the Character Sheet, your home for everything fantasy and tabletop news. And today we're joined by some very special guests from Critical Role's new Exandria Unlimited Divergence series. We've got Alexander Ward and Jasmine Don, two of the characters in the new series. Thank you guys both so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Can't wait to talk.
Thank you so much for having us.
Can't wait to talk some Divergence. Let's start out with the big question. You've both worked with Critical Role before on either Candela Obscura or in the case of The Legend of Vox Machina, but how was it to sit down at the big table for the first time for basically a main campaign Exandria adventure with the Critical Role cast in the building and in some of them in your party?
Yeah. Jasmine, you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So I've been working on Legend of Vox Machina since like 2020. So that has been an amazing journey, and I was a fan of the series, like even way before I even knew that I was ever going to be working on it. But it was just so fun to be, and so also nerve-wracking, because I do, so I'm a script coordinator, and I'm writing on season 4 of Vox Machina, so like a lot of what I do is very much like behind the scenes kind of stuff for LVM and for Critical Role. So this was my first time doing like an on-camera thing for them, and I was so scared. But then the second I like sat down with everyone at that table and we were just like talking, I was like, this is going to be so fun, and it was. So it was truly just like an amazing experience.
I love that. I've been friends with some of the CR cast for a long time. We met over a decade ago, and so I've just always known them as my friends, and they have this thing, and I did do a part on Candela Obscura, which was great and very much my normal vibe of tabletop in like dramatic and spooky and sad. But to actually sit down at the table where the show has become this thing, and that table is so specific, and to sit down at that table to play a character within the canon universe of Exandria was just an incredible experience and so much fun, and just this wonderful world that Matt has built. Well, that everybody's built, but they came originally from Matt's brain. It's just such a lovely place to spend your time.
Oh, and just because I noticed it, because it's in the exact same display case from IKEA that I keep mine. Are those your Kingdom Death Monster miniatures?
They are.
I was like, I think I saw Spidiculates. I saw those long legs. And I was just curious.
Yeah, they're right back there is all my Kingdom Death Monster stuff. I have a big pile of shame of unbuilt minis off camera.
Yeah. We just got our 777 box a few months ago, and we still haven't got through assembling half of those. But yeah, speaking of Matt and Brennan in this world, when you got the call to do this and you realized that it would not only be a Brennan run campaign, but it would be Brennan running an EXU campaign, and given his track record for inflicting emotional trauma on people, were you prepared, or were your characters prepared for the sort of emotional knife twisting that could be coming your way this campaign? Were you at all nervous about how he's going to try and put you guys through the ringer?
And sometimes like literal knife twisting that happens.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute too.
Yeah. Yeah, Brennan is someone that I had, like, he's like one of those guys, because I'm also a UCB person, so like he's one of those people that I have had like 1 degree of separation away from, and just like we never crossed paths. So I was so excited to be able to work with him. And I also definitely re-listened to EXU Calamity and Downfall in preparation for this. So I think I knew it was going to be rough. And also we had a little sort of like a mini meeting at the beginning back in December of like where we all of us essentially, yeah, like all of us players, we met up with Brennan, and he was sort of telling us what the vibe and the tone of this campaign would be, and he made it very clear, like things are, it's so bad. It's so bad during the year of the Divergence. So I mean, hey, I thought I was prepared for the amount of emotional trauma that I was going to go through, but we'll see as the episodes keep going on.
Yeah, we'll see. I had never been in a game run by Brennan before. I've played with Brennan before in a one shot we did a number of years ago, but I never got a chance to play in a game where he's calling the shots, and it was an incredible experience. It was so much fun and so different. It just a unique storyteller in this tabletop RPG sphere. But sitting down with him, I was very much, I love when things go wrong for characters and I get to play a character. I love when my character dies. I love when bad stuff happens to my character. So I was like, yeah, bring it on, throw it at me. I want bad stuff to happen. Let's go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But speaking of those characters, when you guys found out you would be doing level 0 character, did that in any way change the way you prepared for the campaign or like your concepts for the characters at all?
I love, my favorite thing to do in RPGs or any game system is to play the person who has no power. Like I love very close to the ground. I love playing, D&D level 1 through 5 is the best. Like it's like when you have nothing compared to what because essentially, eventually it just becomes so bananas. Yeah. But I like a more grounded story, and I like a more low magic system and anything like that. So playing level 0 characters was right up my alley, and like I was really excited when they told me, because I was like, oh, I just get to be a guy with nothing. Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
I want to have like that. You have a sword is the most important thing in the world. Like it's like I was so excited when I was told.
Yeah, it's also such a drastic difference from Calamity and Downfall, where it's like, Calamity, we're focusing on these super high level like mages who are at the top of their society, and then Downfall is all about the gods. So just like going from that into this party of just truly just like level 0 characters, I completely agree with Alex in that like there's something so fun about like someone who's just like a normal guy just trying to like make it through these crazy like cataclysmic events. That's so fun. And I think it really is just like a testament to like how great of a game designer and storyteller that Brennan is, in that like I think those gameplay elements and the story like weave together so well, in the sense of like it's not just like a game mechanic thing of having us play level 0 characters being challenging. It is really, it ties so deeply into the story that Downfall is trying to, the Divergence is trying to tell, which is just that these are powerless people who are just trying to make it, trying to find anything that they can do to like survive in this like desolated apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, it changes your perspective because specifically when one thinks of playing a fantasy tabletop game or telling a fantasy story, it may, you may start as like the level 1 adventure, and then the person quickly becomes the most powerful person in the universe. It's like the perspective is always like the story doesn't start till someone gets so powerful, and it's like, no, I want to see this world from the eyes of somebody who has nothing and has no power and cannot fix things, and is just looking at the events of a war of gods that is destroying the planet and going, oh, okay. Like I can't fix this or stop it or change it or anything. And it's such a fun place to play and try to make little changes that matter, Yeah,
I loved, and I think it summed up so well that in the first episode, you get a vestige of Divergence like dropped at your feet, and that's nothing compared to when like 30 minutes earlier you guys finally found water and would survive.
Well, like,
that was such a great moment to be like water treated, and so like it was so much more important than anything else, because these are level 0 characters. They're just trying to survive out there.
Yeah, I mean the Storm Lord did give a vestige to the dumbest man ever. So like it was like oh, the big guy gave me belt, but there was rain. Like it was like, Yeah.
Oh, I do also love this Brennan. The rain starts and it's like, oh, it washes away the mist, and then the end he's like, by the way, you're slowly being chilled to death by the rain.
Yeah.
You should probably get out of the rain. Speaking of Brennan, Jasmine, what went through your mind when he hit you with the "It's okay, I wouldn't have helped me either" during episode 1?
Well, basically, it felt. I've never experienced taking like a shotgun blast directly to the chest, but that's kind of what I imagine it is like. Because I think like in that moment, Phaedra is. I was like, okay, Phaedra is surrounded by these extremely powerful enemies. She has 7 whole hit points. She is a food service worker. Like, I was like, there is just logically from her point of view, there's nothing she can really do to help, and any kind of step that she would take to try and make this better would instantly put her in danger, probably put the kid in danger also. So like, I was like, yeah, like there's, nothing really else I can do, but like, that is really just such a beautiful, I think, what Brennan did in that situation kind of revealed this part of Phaedra that I think I find very compelling, and all the characters to the extent, but especially Phaedra, of just being like, the kind of choices that you make when you're in that bad of a situation are not really like driven. At a certain point, it stops being driven by like morality and idealism, like what you believe is the right thing to do. It is like a very just realist, like I am looking at just like the material situation that is around me, and that is what is going to determine the way that I react to it. And what I truly feel and what I want to do kind of has no value in that situation. And it's such a horrible, gut-wrenching place to be in, that moment is just so beautiful in just such a devastating way.
So, and we got to see Phaedra react to that very visibly on the camera. And then also afterwards we started seeing a couple new layers of Crokus, and to me at least Crokus kind of gave off big like Sloth from Goonie vibes. Is there a particular inspiration for this sort of, he's dim-witted, but he's not like, he still has enough like he knows that the right thing to do in some ways. Like he loves, like he's bringing those kids along. Like what inspired Crokus?
I wanted to make, this was like a sort of a challenge to myself, because I tend to make more, I say cerebral, but not because I'm saying I'm intelligent. I just make more like heady characters who like have feelings or problems or, blah, 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 blah. I wanted to make someone simple, because I was also thinking, oh, let's do something different. Like the last time I was on Critical Role, I played a surgeon. Let's go the other way. Let's play someone who's low intelligence, higher wisdom. Like he's got an okay wisdom, but he's just real dumb. No, schooling. And then I kind of had a couple of ideas that were floating around in my head, and then when we started doing our session 0, and Jasmine mentioned wanting to be someone who kind of had like a little, like a boss of a gang, I was like, oh shit, I know exactly where one of these characters that was floating in my head could fit. And that was Crokus, and I was like, okay, big Dragonborn bodyguard, good. And then Brennan, when we were talking, was like, hey, well, when you're doing stats, like if you want like to take a feat, you can lower some stats to do, like if you lower a stat by 4, you could have a feat. And I was like, okay, lowering intelligence by 4 to 6, and then I'm taking the Dragonhide feat to make myself tougher. So I could use my claws as weapons and have higher AC. So I was just a big dumb bodyguard. And that was kind of where that character came from. But in the actual inspiration for him, I unwittingly kind of took inspiration from the movie Unleashed with Jet Li.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wow, I haven't thought about that one forever.
Yeah, that kind of clarified in my brain after I kind of said the character, then I went, oh, that's where I pulled that from. Like it was just one of those things.
Oh, I gotta go watch it. Isn't that one of I think it's like one of the last Bob Hoskins films.
Yeah, it
too.
is. It's one of the last Bob Hoskins films, and it's basically like Bob Hoskins is a crime boss who has Jet Li basically as an attack dog, and when he has the collar on, he's docile, but when he takes the collar off, he beats up anyone around him.
He beats up a bunch of Russians in a jewelry store.
Yeah,
like you
exactly. But it was so that's kind of, I think, where the inspiration for the personality-wise very different, but the actual the one sheet of Crokus came from that.
That's fascinating because like when he was first around the kids, you were worried because we'd only known Crokus for so long. If it was a were we looking at a potential like mice and men situation here?
Right.
But the way that he kind of fleshed out, and then the interactions that Phaedra had at the table with the Lord following, or the Lord of the Emperor of Strife was pretty fantastic. Yeah. But I think two more questions before we dive into a quick little fun lightning round, and one of them that I always love to ask because it's so few people get the chance to do this. What is it like to play alongside Matt Mercer as he gets to explore a world that he helped make, but he's kind of seeing this part of it for the first time? Like, what's it like having the adventure of exploration alongside the person who sort of crafted the framework to begin with?
Wow. You make it sound so important. I've been talking. Jasmine, you go. You.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, like what can I really say? Obviously, it is very cool. Yeah, it was just so, I think it was something, again, that like intimidated me at the very beginning, where I was like, okay, I'm going to be playing D&D with the guy who did all of this. That's crazy. And just the amount of trust that he has put in like all of us to kind of, play around and like build out the story of that world was just like such an honor. And above all, it was just so fun. It was just so cool to like sort of watch. There's a lot of great moments that I can't spoil that are coming up where we got to watch Matt be surprised, like genuinely shocked by things. And it was so emotional, even just for like us like witnessing that. And like it's so amazing. There's so much cool stuff in store for all of you guys watching at home.
Yeah, Matt, I mean, Brennan is amazing and told an amazing story, but Matt is such a wonderful performer and is so much puts himself into a supportive role when playing a character, and when sitting at the table, he wants everyone else's story to be great. So he puts himself into a position to boost everyone else's story up. But I think we were all kind of determined to make him also have a story, because he wants to give everybody a good time. Even when he's a player, he wants to make sure everyone has a good time. And it's like, no, man, you're going to have a good time. Like, it's like, we're going to make sure you get to play and you get to do the cool thing. And like, that was very important to me as somebody who just like, it will just like, has seen him for so long be the forever DM, and it's like, to get to watch him play and be this character and be such a cool dwarf was just like, hell yeah, let's go. Like, I was so excited to play. And then also getting to play with Liam, who was my storyteller in Candela.
Oh yeah, it's true.
And who I've been friends with for a while now. And like, that was so much, just both of us getting to be Dragonborns was so much fun. And we both had a Dragonborn idea, and I was like, all right, 2 Dragonborns, let's go. Like, let's do, and it was the conversation of how do we make them very different, which was very cool. Oh, that's awesome.
And I think, so one last thing to kind of, because it ties in so beautifully to the end of Campaign 3. Campaign 3 Critical Role ended, and everyone seemed to take it as a pretty positive ending. We're like, oh, hey, the gods have become mortals again, but they're just going to sort of wander around Exandria at some point and maybe get their memories back. But now you guys are living this very real experience of what happened the last time the gods were allowed to just kind of wander around Exandria. And that went very badly. So has EXU Divergence given you like some new insight on the ending of Campaign 3 and like what, and if maybe Campaign 4 might be a lot darker than people are expecting, given how things were for you guys the last time you were around the gods?
I think like, yeah, it definitely was getting back to the whole like level 0 characters not being just like a gameplay thing, but also very much like a story and thematic move that's brilliant. I think like what EXU Divergence kind of, how it dovetails into like the end of campaign 3 is that like it's not any historical event, even in, real world history. It's like, sure, you're getting the version of it that's like, here are all the major players, the leaders, the heroes, the general to like whatever who kind of made this happen. And then there's like part of me that's always curious about like, what was life just like for just like the people who are never going to show up in a history book, who like the entire, like there were thousands and millions of people who are living through this event who we will never know their names, we will never know their stories, but undeniably they had like an effect on the world around them, and they had things that they did and lives that they led. And I think that like Divergence in that way is so cool because it shows sort of like the flip side of like, all of that stuff of like, these are people who, like are just living through the worst possible, version of these events unfolding with the gods. And like, what was it like for them? And, that's something that whether it's, just in any major, just sort of like cataclysmic global event, there are always people like that. And then there were certainly people like the Divergence crew who were just NPCs who were living through the end of Bell's Hell, and like weird, maybe never going to find out what happened to them. But I think like that is just such a cool way to kind of like show just both sides of like, I think it's like just like a beautiful kind of, duet of things.
Yeah, it's interesting throwing into like very sharp relief of like, okay, well, the last time, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, the gods were around and just made an absolute mess of everything. And now they're around again, which you would hope that these, higher beings, these supreme powers who have all of this knowledge and power and just complete different viewpoint on what existence is would learn from their mistakes. But I doubt it. It's like someone who is that power, or something who is that powerful and that, all-knowing or in control of all of those things, there's no way there's no hubris. It's like, how does a thing like that go, oh, I really messed up, I should probably do better. They're like, what do you mean I messed up? Like, I'm this thing, So it's going to be, I'm very curious to see what happens in the future now that these beings are back in the mortal plane, and to whether they regain their memories or not, or whatever happens with that, which I'm sure some of them will. It just is such an interesting prospect for future stories within the world of Exandria.
Yep. No, that's true. And it's hard to imagine Asmodeus having a self-reflective epiphany.
Yeah, he's not going to be like, you know what, I guess I'm going to stop lying.
No, just
it's like,
he's like, listen, I've been doing a lot of work on myself. I've been doing these CBT worksheets.
Yeah.
He's going to start throwing out therapy speak.
Doing a lot of jogging.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've touched on some heavy subjects, so let's end with a very fun, quick lightning round. We always try and do this whenever we get a chance to talk to any Critical Role or Dimension 20 cast members. It's one of the fun things we do. This one, we give Brennan his recurring category is magical sword or mid-sized sedan, where he has to guess if it's a sword or sedan. You guys are getting magical artifact or made-up nonsense, where you'll either have to choose if something is a real magical artifact from a TTRPG source book somewhere, or some made-up nonsense by me that will probably wind up in one of my homebrew campaigns at this point.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll give you a chance to answer before each of these, and we'll go through a few of them here. So first off, in magical artifact or made-up nonsense, we have the boom pile.
Magical
pile of boom. Magical artifact?
Pile of boom. Ooh. I'm going to go magical artifact. And also, I was just imagining like a pile of boom mics, which I don't think is what that is, but...
It is it is not a pile of boom mics. It is a real card from Magic the Gathering, and it is
I knew it was!
It is a pile of cannonballs with a goblin running at it holding a torch.
This is all magic right here.
Oh, now you're...
All right, next we have the Prospernomicon of Wolvane. Artifact or made-up nonsense?
There's too many proper nouns in that. I'm gonna say it's made up.
Yeah, it's made up.
It is in fact made up.
Hey!
Although I know exactly what campaign I'm going to slot that into. Oh, now did I do it twice in a row? The Demonomicon of Igwilv.
Oh no.
That's a
Man,
real
Demonomicon.
artifact.
I don't know why in my brain I'm like, Prospernomicon has to be fake, but Demonomicon, that sounds real. So I guess I'm going real magical artifact.
We're on the same
that
page
one.
here.
For-
All right.
that's
Real.
not nothing.
Igwilv is the original name of Tasha from Tasha.
That's
Sullivan.
Oh,
It is her
oh no
book.
way!
Yeah.
From her titular cauldron of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. From
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, next up, one of my favorites, fake or real. I'm using it regardless in my next campaign. The Ring of Bureaucratic Wizardry, which, as an added bonus, I'll tell you its effects, because it's what I'm going to do if it's made up or not anyway. It summons paperwork you have to fill out when you cast a spell.
Oh,
So if you
I
cast
love that.
Fireball, you must first sign in triplicate a bunch of waivers of indemnity.
It's real.
You know what? Just to spice things up, I'm gonna go fake.
It is, in fact, a real D&D cursed item.
Hey!
I have no other skills.
Well, halfway. All right, now another one of my favorites, the Cabinet of Ministering.
Ooh. All right, Jasmine.
That sounds. At this point, I'm just like flipping a light switch, like fake, real, fake, real, real, fake. So I'm just gonna go real.
I'm going to say fake.
The Cabinet of Ministering is a real artifact that you push someone inside and it heals 50 hit points.
Oh, fun.
Love that.
Oh, next, here we go. We have three similar ones. We'll do them real quick in a row because we're almost done here. The Ring of Letter Loss.
Okay.
A ring that if you look at the wearer, you no longer understand the alphabet.
Oh,
Fake.
I'm gonna go fake too. However, I do want that item.
Well, it is in fact a
real
fake
life.
item.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Next, we have the Helm of Helming. A helm, which when you wear it, you get a +2 to all checks to pilot a vehicle of some sort. Ship,
That's
boat,
super
whatever.
real. That's 100% real.
I'm gonna go real. Yeah.
That was made up, but it's definitely
Oh,
going to be used in one of my
no,
campaigns.
That's so good, though.
No, you gotta. It's so good.
And the last of this little bunch is the Brooch of Number Numbing. A brooch where, if you look at the wearer, you forget how numbers work.
Okay.
Okay,
A
so this
sister,
is-
a
this is
sister
gonna be a
product to the ring of.
Because
Well,
the other
wait,
one was
I forget.
fake.
Was the
No, the other one was real.
fake? Was the other one? I already
The
forgot.
Ring of Letter Loss was made up.
Okay, so this one's got to be real.
Yeah,
is what I'm feeling.
I'm agreeing with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It is a real cursed artifact.
Yay!
And now the very last, there's the last two, and then we're done because I don't want you. I'm not going to keep you past 30 minutes here. These are probably my two favorites, regardless of their nature. The first one is the Powder of Edible Objects. A powder designed by a poor wizard so that he could eat anything and not have to worry about food costs.
Ooh.
I don't care. That's real. I don't care if it isn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna say real, and also that it's tahine.
Yes, it's just
It should be. Yeah, it is in
It's
fact
just
real.
tahine.
It is real, and it's from like D&D Second Advanced. And the caption was like, a poor wizard one day discovered that he needed to eat leaves, and so came up with the Powder of Edible Objects.
God. Oh, I wish we had that at the end of episode 1 of
Yeah, that
Divergence.
would have been way
Yeah, that'd be
easier.
great for you guys.
yeah.
And then the very last one, Eisen's Inanimate Demi-Lich. A failed magical experiment by a wizard that is in fact just a skull.
I'm gonna go real.
Fake.
It is fake.
Yeah.
It is something I had one of my wizards do in a campaign last year.
That's very good. I like that.
Just fail at me.
Love that.
All right. Well, that's all for the lightning round. Guys, thank you both so much for joining us today. Please, viewers at home, watch the next episode of EXU Divergence. Go back and watch the first episode if you haven't. This series has been amazing. It will only get better. Alexander Ward, Jasmine Don, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank
as
you.
always, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. And feel free, guys at home, to like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, and we will see you next time.